Welcome, or welcome back to Very Haunted on YouTube. Today we're excited to bring you 3 new, authentic ghost stories. Our channel is dedicated to narrating true ghost tales, allowing you to immerse in the experience and form your own interpretations of the supernatural. Each of us has our own collection of eerie encounters, and perhaps the next story we share could be yours. If you've had a paranormal experience you'd like to share, please visit veryhaunted.com to submit your story for consideration. Let's explore the unknown together.
I stayed on the Queen Mary in November 2012 in room 131, and the following happened. The TV in my room turned on by itself 3 separate times. I turned it off myself and checked to see that it was off, and it would come back on when I was either in the bathroom or in bed. Also on my first night, I was awakened by the sounds of a party. There were men and women talking and laughing through the wall, and I could hear glasses clinking. At times it sounded like it was outside my portholes. That was not possible, as I was on the harbor side of the ship with nothing but water below me. I did check with the front desk, and the room next to mine was not occupied for the first 2 nights I was there. The bathroom light burned out in the morning, so when I went to breakfast I reported it, and when I came back to my room to get my camera and phone, I went to brush my teeth and the light was working. While I was in the room, maintenance man knocked on my door with the work order to change the bulb in the bathroom. I told him someone already did it, and he said it was impossible since it was his first work order of the day. When I was on the self-guided tour, I was alone near the infirmary steps when I got the feeling that someone was there with me, and not in a good way. As I started down the stairs, I got a really bad feeling and could not continue. I turned around and went back to the sunlight and the open stern of the ship. As I was heading for the bridge, I somehow got turned around and needed to head inside for a restroom. I could not find the way, and a painter in painter overalls with paint stains on them, a man assisted me by showing me a staff entrance that led to a lower deck. When I came back up to that location, there was no painter, no evidence of anything being painted or just been painted, no wet paint signs or roped off areas. I never saw any workmen for the rest of my self-guided tour. When I went on the ghost tour at night, I had a fully charged battery in my camera. However, while in the boiler room, which was very dark, my camera battery died, and I could take no more photos. When I got back to the lighted common area, my battery was fully charged and my camera was operational. The tour guide said that happens a lot on the tour. However, these photos of the baby's face were taken in that boiler room before the battery totally died. The other shows the figure of a man who was not on the tour to my knowledge. As I went into the propeller room, there were other people in there with me. However, I started feeling closed in, like I could not breathe, not feeling good. I got out of there as soon as I could, exiting into the lighted historical area of the ship, where the feeling continued like something was following me and I was being closed in. I finally had to go outside the ship to get the feeling to stop. Thanks for listening to my story.
For our 15th wedding anniversary, me and my husband wanted to do something different than the classic romantic weekend in any beach. This time we wanted to be adventurous and do something more exciting. We decided to rent a room in a haunted hotel. The Copper Queen Hotel in Bisbee, Arizona looked more attractive to us than any of the other hotels in town. We made the reservation for April 18, 2015. We got room 217 on the 2nd floor. I had brought with us a digital recorder to use while our stay in the hotel. We left the room a couple of times that night to get dinner and to enjoy a couple of drinks around the corner from the hotel. Every time we left the room, I left the digital recording on to catch anything unusual. Each and every time I checked what it was recorded, there was nothing at all, other than us talking coming in and out of the room. Around 1 a.m., me and my husband came back to our room ready to go to bed. I made sure the digital recording was on, and we got into bed. I could not fall asleep. I was not at rest, and my husband noticed that I was looking uneasy. He started joking about all the ghosts and spirits we heard about that night from other guests at the hotel. Stories about Billy, a little boy roaming the hotel, and a man smoking a cigar. One lady and his family told me that the night before they heard screams and scratching noises on the walls. I could not rest, and I was not letting my husband fall asleep before me. After a while, I finally gave up and fell asleep. I don't know what time it was, but something grabbed me by my foot and yanked me off the bed so hard that I had to grab the bed to keep me from falling off. I was scared and confused. I wrapped my legs and body around with the bed sheets and I covered my face underneath the blankets. I tried all night to get some sleep until almost morning. The next morning I got up and played the recordings from the night before. At first there was only the two of us talking, but as soon as my husband jokingly named some of the ghosts haunting the hotel, the recording picked up so much noise and static. There is 1.5 hours of static and interference. I listened what it was recorded entirely. There were soft voices talking, but it is so difficult to make up what they are saying with so much interference. I wanted to make sure that the digital recording was not broken, so I left it on once we came back home in Yuma. The recording was working just fine with no static or interference at all. I am convinced now that whatever grabbed me by my foot was real and that it is so strong to pull me out of bed and with so much energy to make the digital recording get so much static. I am not a computer expert, so I will definitely look for help on analyzing these noises picked up by our digital recorder. Thank you for listening.
My first paranormal experience happened when I was around 7 years old. I was in my mom's bedroom snooping through her things. I looked up into the mirror of her vanity and standing in the corner facing and watching me was a young girl. She wore a white dress that was torn. The thing that truly frightened me, that I have never been able to shake off, was its eyes, or lack of, I should say. This entity had giant, gaping black holes for eyes. It was like looking into two black holes. It's a vivid detail I would never forget. There were absolutely no eye whites, and the black holes were perfectly circular. Next, I was around 9 years old when my family went to Sarajevo, Bosnia home country, for 2 months during summer break. Our first night there, our neighbors gathered around the house outside to welcome us. I was standing with my older sister and some neighborhood teenagers. I overheard them talking about how our house is haunted. I wandered off, away from the crowd, to the front of the house. I looked into the window that directly gazed into the living room and the kitchen. Standing in our kitchen was a little ghost boy with short black hair that was opening and closing our kitchen drawers. I watched, amazed, as it picked up a spoon and inspected it closely. It turned the spoon around in the air, twisting and examining it. As if it could sense that I was watching, it snapped its head towards the window and stared at me. It didn't move. Like the ghost girl, it had gaping black holes for eyes. And we just stared at each other for a solid few seconds, with my eyes tracking back to the spoon that it was still holding, and I ran off. I remember being so scared to sleep at night after that, in that house. I told everyone about it, and my grandma taught me a Muslim prayer that I still use to this day whenever I feel like there is something around me. Lastly, I saw the third entity when I was around 12 years old. My family and I drove down to Jacksonville, Florida, to visit my aunt. I went to the bathroom, washed my hands, and when I looked in the mirror I saw a little ghost boy in the corner of the bathroom. It was daytime when I saw it. It didn't seem to have an emotion and was expressionless, besides just emptiness and despair. Its eyes, like the other encounters, had giant gaping black holes. It didn't seem like the other ghost boy I had seen in Bosnia. He seemed younger and shorter. I've lived in the same house my entire life, and I've had one additional experience with the ghost boy, and countless others with the ghost girl. I dreamed about her when I was a teenager. In the dream I was a child again, and we were playing, having a good time. She told me, "I'm not as bad as I seem, that's all I remember." In recent years, the ghost girl woke me up with an electrifying shock on my wrist. I felt something slide off my bed and swear I saw her outline laughing at me. I'm sharing this because I am wondering if anyone can identify what these entities are and what they want to do with me. Also, what is the significance of the black eyes? Why has it not been documented before in media? I've tried to do research, but it seems like nothing that comes up is close to what I have experienced.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, the realm of ghosts and spirits is vast and filled with untold stories, and one of them could be yours. If you're brave enough to share your encounter with the paranormal, we're here to listen. Visit veryhaunted.com to submit your ghost story for a chance to be featured. Until next time, keep the lights on, stay curious, and embrace the mysteries that lurk in the corners of our world. Good night, and stay haunted.